Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to Eat Your Moon Tarot. And this is your reading for the week. And this is a timeless reading. So no matter when you're seeing this, whether it's around the time when I'm recording it or whether it's later, this is your impulse for the upcoming 7 days. And here you have 3 piles that I randomly chose. Go ahead and take a look and see which one speaks to you. Which one is calling to you, and then you can look below in the description to jump to the time code that you chose. Hello, pile number 1. It's interesting because at the bottom of the deck, we have the Knot of Isis, energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. Now, this card has a lot to do with being held by the divine feminine energy, by the mother energy. So all 3 piles will have kind of a theme of being held, being safe, being cared for, which I think is really fitting because at the time that I'm making this reading, we had a full moon in Pisces. And that to me, with the moon being the feminine, the mother energy, and Pisces also being a feminine energy, kind of like the wild feminine, like the ocean, the feminine that just can't be grasped. Nobody knows how deep the ocean goes. And it's said that there's still mastodon sharks deep in the depths of the oceans. And that's kind of how the feminine energy is as well. Can't always grasp it. Sometimes you don't quite know how deep it goes. So this is about holding. Now it's interesting because I accidentally pulled 2 cards. So I'm curious to see which 2 I pulled. Rising Sun, the Divine Solar Child Reborn. So if you chose this pile, you may feel like you're going through a rebirth. And it's interesting because you could get the impression that the baby's not well. I mean, look at it. It's green. And there are cracks here, cracks along the body of Isis. And you could get the impression that there's actually death, but here there's tremendous life. And it's like the phoenix, when the phoenix, has to burn completely in order to be reborn. You may feel like you've been through a really tough period. You may feel like there are cracks and there are bruises. And what this card is saying is that you're arising now in your fullness. You went through a period of learning. It was like a real life workshop. It's interesting because sometimes we feel like we have to take courses or classes to feel worthy of certain certifications. But man, nothing teaches as intensely as life does. And this card looks to me like, in different areas of your life, you may have been through a lot. Look at the cracks in her face. Let's focus that for you. Yeah. Look at the cracks in her face. So you went through a difficult earth school and now you're being reborn. So let's see what the second card is. Oh my gosh. Abundance of Sotis, stellar blessings of the celestial goddess of abundance. So you may feel like you went through a really tough period, but now this is saying there are opportunities and there are blessings coming to you for the work that you've done in the past that was well done. So look at how this sun is shining. It's interesting because the moon to me is all about coming home to yourself. It's the mother energy. And the sun is all about going out. It's the yang energy. It's sending energy outward. So it's like the father energy sending you out into the world. So I feel like this is about a time of isolation where you may have felt like you had to go within, you had to hibernate in order to find your way back to yourself, in order to find your way back to wholeness. And now it's saying, well done, my love, well done. And you are receiving the abundance that you deserve. Because whether we realize it or not, this planet has a lot to do with healing. It has a lot to do with understanding ourselves as feeling beings. And so sometimes we feel like success is all tied up in the material and in the job, in the career, in the getting things done, when really often it's tied up in, can I untie myself? Can I free myself? Can I let go? So I'm going to pull out another deck, which I wasn't planning to do, so we can take a look. You know, when I see this card, I think about being receptive, being ready to receive, having a strong container that's ready to receive. And I feel like that was what you were working on, strengthening your container, bringing your container back together so there are no leaks, so that all of this divine solar energy that's coming to you, this energy of creativity and abundance, that you can really receive it and enjoy it. So why don't we find out what you can open up to in order to allow this energy to come through. Let's read this card though, because it's such a beautiful text right quickly. I know this deck like the back of my hand, and I love this text. So let's read it quickly. A dark phase and struggle is over. A new phase is upon you, one of hope, glory, light, and triumph. It is won through boldness, persistence. Even when you feel like giving up, you chose to stay strong, to surrender to the divine, and continue with the path. You have been through much, and now victory is upon you, beloved. For the divine solar child, a new consciousness within you is born. So you didn't give up. You kept going. You allowed yourself to heal your container. And Isis, this is the deck of the Isis Oracle. And the story of Lady Isis is she married her brother Osiris. She married her brother Osiris, which is quite common back in the day in ancient Egypt. And both are gods, which may be considered like angels in certain other traditions. And Isis is known for her ability to heal. And Osiris was torn apart by Set, who was their brother, and he was envious and jealous. And so Isis went around the world and brought back all parts of Osiris that had been, distributed. And she brought him back together to wholeness. And when Osiris was brought back together, they had a child together, Horus. I believe Horus is the god of time and also often depicted as an eye. But Isis is all about wholeness, bringing back together the parts of us that we felt we had distributed, the times we felt like we gave away our power. And Isis helps us to bring that energy, to call our energy back from all those times and places where we gave it up so that we can return to wholeness. So one thing you can say is, I call my energy back from all times and all places. I am one, I am whole. I ask this for my highest, greatest good and the harm of none. So that's something that you can repeat to yourself, and don't give up. Look at this abundance. It's coming through. And often abundance comes where we are consistent. So this is not the time to give up. So let's see what energy can help you to receive the abundance that is yours. Awareness. So this is you being called to awareness that you've done very, very well, and that you can open up to that. And awareness is genuinely incredibly important because it helps us to believe, it helps us to have faith. And the moth is also, in the spirit animal sense, a symbol of transformation. So you've got this transformation energy of your hard work paying off. And it's not just transformation, it's really a kind of metamorphosis. Here you have the 22, which is also about wholeness and authenticity with the parrotfish. And the parrotfish can, I believe, either change its colors or it can put on a mask when it needs to hide itself from prey. So this is like an invitation to be authentic. You did a lot of, diving deep within, a lot of dark night of the soul type of work. And now you're coming out of that dark night into the light. And a lot of heroes do that. Gilgamesh, Jesus, a lot of heroes go deep into the darkness only to arise even brighter. So this is what you've done. And now it's time to shine your light and to be authentic. Last one, whale communication. So what you've been through has kind of made you the teacher. You've been through different things that have helped you, and now it's an opportunity to share what helped you. A lot of people can be intimidated when it comes to becoming the teacher, but one thing we can remember is that all we do is talk about our experience. It's not about pushing anyone to have a certain experience or pushing any type of belief system onto someone. Instead, it's more about helping people to understand and open up to your journey. And by opening up to your journey, they see for themselves better the opportunities that are open to them as well. So this is your energy and your reading for the week. At the bottom of the deck is longevity. So I feel like there's with the turtle here, the sea turtle, there's like this message of persistence, but taking it step by step, because the turtle moves slowly. One of my absolute favorite stories when I was a kid was the tortoise and the hare. And it was the story of how the hare was just so arrogant and I'm so fast and I'm so fast. And the turtle was very slow moving, but through that, through his tempo of being more slow, he was gaining wisdom. So instead of talking a lot about what he was capable of, instead, he just started the race. So when tortoise and hare raced each other, hare went as fast as hare could, but in hare's arrogance, he or she decided to lay down and take a nap. Like, the tortoise is just so slow. I'll beat the tortoise no matter what. And slowly but surely, the tortoise didn't doubt whether he could win or whether she could win. Instead, they just decided to take it step by step. And while the hare was sleeping, the tortoise actually won the race. So take it step by step. Don't be fooled by the tempo, by the feeling that everything has to go fast. Sometimes it is the slow and the steady who actually end up winning the race. So persist, my love. Don't give up. But more than anything, I feel like this is a call to be proud of yourself, to be aware of what you've achieved, to be aware of your beauty, and to allow yourself to be authentic and to share your story and your journey with others so that they know at the end of the rainbow, they can find their pot of gold. And you're showing that with your example. So this is your reading, pile number 1. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in the next reading. If you'd like to work together or go through my Rebel Path coaching, then take a look at the description below. Hello, pile number 2. Thank you for tuning in. So at the bottom of the deck for all 3 piles was the Knot of Isis, energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. Now this card is about being held in the arms and in the cradle of the Divine Mother. So this week is going to be about you feeling and stepping into the energy of being supported, knowing that you're not alone, knowing that you're loved. So let's take a look at your card. Ooh, Miracle of Isis, miraculous healing of the goddess. So some of you may feel like you've been through, and this is similar to pile number 1, a bit of a tough period. And maybe you're wondering, like, will this period end? Will I step back into wholeness? And this is your confirmation. This is your confirmation that you are stepping back into wholeness and that you're a powerful spiritual being. Look at her wings. You're able to fly. And look at this support. She's on the back of Osiris, one of the Egyptian gods, who's known for his divine masculine power. And the divine masculine is the energy that carries us, that gives us a strong foundation. So just know that you have a strong foundation. You've got guides and loved ones surrounding you, ensuring that you succeed, carrying you through this period. Look how beautifully she's painted as well. Some of you may have, past lives in really powerful spaces. So let's take a look at this card. Miracle of Isis. Isis was known as a talented practitioner of the healing arts and was capable of miraculous healings. For you, beloved, she offers a miracle healing. No matter how much you have struggled with a particular matter, no matter how impossible it may seem to imagine your life without this old wound, addiction, problem, relationship issue, or inner struggle being a part of it, you are guided now to accept the possibility of miraculous healing, to let go and let the goddess be. So this can be a message that a difficult struggle is over, or know that it will come to an end, or can also be a message that you have the ability to be a practitioner and to support people on their journey. If you're interested in Reiki, that's something that I teach. And this is an opportunity for you to open up more to that gift. So let's find out more. Compassion, essence, acceptance. And the ibis is all about foundation. So again, this is about, it's like you have a strong inner foundation. I just pulled these two, we'll come back to them. At the bottom, community. So something that can support you on this path is community, because community has a really powerful way of helping us come back to our true essence, helping us, if we're surrounded by people who are like-hearted, not just like-minded, but really like-hearted, then it helps us to step more deeply into our authenticity, into our essence. Maybe some of you are thinking about going the Reiki path, or pranic healing, or doing something that has to do with healing. Maybe some of you are writers. I feel like writing and different forms of art are actually incredibly soothing to the soul. They have a power to regenerate us. Words are like spells. So whether they're spoken in a monologue or written in a book, they also have the power to touch people's hearts. So this is all about, for me, you entering more into a period of self-compassion, and also allowing yourself to be supported by your community. And maybe some of you are putting pressure on yourselves to feel like you need to perform, to feel like you have to show up as that teacher, as that practitioner who can help people or heal people. But remember, it's like Bashar and other spiritual teachers have said, and it's even as Jesus taught, it's about holding the frequency. It's not about, moving people into a certain space as a teacher or a guide. It's about holding the space so that they can choose whether to enter that space or not. We as practitioners, we hold the space. Now in Germany, we have to be careful about using the word healing, but this card is referring to your wholeness and letting you know that you're supported. There's compassion for you here. Trust in your own essence, in your own ability, and you need to accept that. You need to stop questioning yourself. Perhaps you're in your mind a lot, and it's time to stop questioning yourself and to accept this support, the support of a community, the support of your guides, your loved ones, and also to accept your gifts, your essence, and your abilities. Dolphin with play. So play is an energy that can really help you to relax into this new phase of your life. In the upcoming week, this is not about being serious. It's not about putting pressure on yourself to perform or overthinking everything. With the dolphin, it's more about coming into your flow and trusting your innate ability, your innate divinity, because dolphins are known for being not only very community oriented, but also being very powerful spiritual beings. So it's almost like trusting in the essence of your power and just being playful and enjoying community. Here we have miracles. Look, miracle of Isis, miracles with unicorn. So something is coming for you, something you can't necessarily control. So you may be out there overthinking it, pushing hard, wanting to make something happen, but just move forward in peace, knowing that things are coming to you. Part of this is destiny, and part of it is taking action and co-creating with the divine. But sometimes one of the most important actions we can take is rest. Sometimes the most important action we can take is moving into stillness. So that doesn't mean that you necessarily put everything you're doing on hold, but it might mean taking a walk in nature for a half an hour a day. It might mean meeting and laughing with that friend who's so important to you and helps you to let go of the things that may feel stressful to you. It's about giving yourself the opportunity to enjoy your art, to paint, to write, to laugh, to be, and to enjoy your form of artistry. There's a miracle coming to you, and it's all about trust. And one form of trust is being playful. Because when we get serious and we get focused and we're staring at the door, waiting for that thing to come, we can sometimes bring in an energy of restriction and block it. And here there's a message of enjoy your gift. You know, recently I decided to stop saying that I help people or that I want to help people. And it was interesting because I had an interview with a woman who wanted to work with me. And she said, well, you know, what is it you do and why do you do it? And she was expecting me to say that I help people. And when I said very specifically, I don't want to help people, she looked shocked. And I said, you know, moving through life with the intention of helping people can be disempowering to the person that you're wanting to support. You know, people don't necessarily need help. What they need is love. So with the work I do in astrology, in coaching, teaching Reiki, my intention is to love people. With the things that I write, with the book that I'm currently writing, everything has the intention to love. And the way that I like to love people is by sharing stories, by storytelling, sharing my stories, sharing other stories. I love mythology, and it's my way of loving, because in my experience, and even kind of a very divine experience I had when I was a kid, the most strongest force we have on earth is unconditional love. So when we're wanting to quote unquote help people, one of the most powerful ways we can do that is actually just by loving them unconditionally as they are and holding space for transformation, but giving them the option to step into that space or not to. So, my love, you have a miracle coming, and that miracle can come best when you're compassionate with yourself, when you embrace and accept your true essence, when you are playful, and when you just know, you step into that knowing that miracles are open to you, okay? At the bottom of the deck, remember this flamingo, this love of community. And flamingos are actually pink because of what they eat. So when they're born, they're actually gray. And then they eat a lot of shrimp and different kinds of, yeah, I don't know if you could say sea insects. I don't know. But the food they eat usually has kind of a pinkish color, and that's how they get their color. So be aware of the community you're surrounding yourself with, because whatever it is you're taking in, that's also creating kind of who you're becoming. So make sure you're surrounded by a playful community that really appreciates the essence of who you really are. And be careful of communities where you feel like you have to tweak and edit and be something other than who you genuinely are. I'll end by just speaking quickly on the story of Isis. Isis and Osiris are brother and sister, and it was common in ancient Egypt for brothers and sisters to marry. So Isis and Osiris married. But Set, their brother, was jealous, and he attacked Osiris and ripped him apart and spread all of Osiris around the world. And Isis, being skilled in bringing wholeness, she gathered all parts of Osiris and brought him back together, and together they had the child Horus. And I feel like that was a miracle. And sometimes it's in the moments where we feel like this cannot possibly be healed, this cannot possibly get better. It's those moments where we actually realize that miracles are possible. So don't be afraid to get the help you need, because community can also be an indication of there being resources out there to get the help and support you need, and not to be afraid to reach out to professional help, medical assistance, whatever it is that you feel that you need. And allow yourself to be supported on this path. So, my love, that is your reading. I'm sending lots of love and lots of hugs. If you would like to go the path of my Rebel coaching, then you can check the description below. And I just look forward to seeing you in the next reading. Hello, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. It's exciting to be back. And at the bottom of the deck, when I pulled the 3 piles, was the Knot of Isis, energetic stabilization with the buckle of the beloved. This card is all about being held by the divine feminine, being held by mother energy, being cradled. So this is a message from the mother goddess of know that you're supported. Know that you're not alone. This upcoming week is all about you giving yourself permission to know that you're not going this path alone, that you are safe. So we have the card, the Dark Mysteries. Enter the chamber of the dark goddess. Okay, so some of you may have a bit of rebel energy, like Lilith energy. And if you don't know the story of Lilith, she was actually meant to be Adam's wife at the beginning of this story in the Jewish tradition. She was meant to marry Adam, but Lilith said to Adam, if we do this, then we both have to be on the same level. And when she got the feeling that she would have to submit to Adam as the male, she decided to go out into the wilderness with an angel and to live life the way that she felt was right. And eventually Adam married Eve. So you may feel like you're a bit of a rebel. You may feel like you may not choose the path that others might have chosen, or you might not choose the path that others may have chosen for you. But you're here to bring that kind of dark feminine energy. And dark is not negative. It is not negative. Sometimes it's just mysterious. And it's sometimes in the dark where we are able to have that stillness we need to really connect with the messages that are coming in. So let's look at the very specific message for this card. But that was the message of the rebel was what I was feeling coming through, that you may not take the path that is commonly traveled, but instead you may choose a path that where you have to bring the light. Sometimes different paths, when they're less traveled, it's up to you to bring the light to that path. Okay, here's the message. The dark goddess calls you to her inner chamber where she holds a test and a gift for you. The test is your willingness to meet and release the fears within that have been secretly holding you back. The gift is freedom, peace, opportunity, and prosperity in all its forms. Will you accept her call? Your time for deeper initiation is here. Wow, so we were talking about this rebel path and this path of doing things differently than others do them. And sometimes when we're doing something differently than the status quo, we do have to release our fear in order to open up to a gift of freedom. Recently, I saw a video on YouTube. I didn't watch it, but I thought the title was really cool. And her title was, I may be cringe, but I have found freedom. So sometimes when we're doing things that are uncomfortable to us, we may feel cringe. We may feel like, oh, this is uncomfortable. This is weird. I look probably weird to others. But it's in going that path less traveled and bringing the light from within instead of searching for or expecting the light from without that really allows us to open up to freedom. And I think it's funny because my stomach is growling at the moment. So some of you may be hungry. Some of you may be hungry for that new path, for something new, but feel like there's something kind of holding you back. And that's where this energetic stabilization of the mother comes in. It says, my child, you are held. There is no reason to fear as you go this as you go this path of living your life purpose and soul mission. Know that you are held and you are loved. And on my path, I often really felt supported by animals, by spirit animals. For example, once when I was kind of unsure if I was on the right path, I walked outside of my apartment door and there were 2 wild rabbits right in front of the door. Like, how often does that happen? And they were huge. They were like the size of dogs. They were like these huge wild rabbits. There have been times when I've gone out in the morning to kind of move into stillness and ask for support and guidance, and a fox has run by my path. That's happened more than once. Or at a time when I felt like, man, like, are these opportunities coming? A frog jumped over my foot, and it happened more than once where a frog in front of my apartment door jumped over my foot, or out in the park, the same park where I encountered the fox. A frog jumped over my path. You know, sometimes people will be wearing a t-shirt with that particular animal, you know, and foxes are quite common. Foxes are very common when you're looking for support and guidance when it comes to your career path. Just know that. So I'm using the spirit animal deck because animals are often like our greatest supporters. Look at this. Praying mantis with patience. So as an astrologer, this is where I get curious about where you have Taurus in your birth chart, because Taurus is all about patience. And where you have Taurus is often the space in your life where you have to bring a little bit of patience. And I have my sun in Taurus, but as far as the houses are concerned, it's partially on the house where I have career. So in my career path, I've had to bring a lot of patience. So look and see if you have Taurus on the 10th or on the 11th, because if it's a part of, and I'm talking about Placidus charts, if it's a little bit on your 10th house, like when it comes to career, you may need to be patient. And if you're making content, or if you're, you know, moving forward with something and not quite sure, the message may be the reason you're not seeing certain results is because you're meant to learn patience. And I think it's interesting. The only scripture in the Bible that I have memorized at the moment has to do with patience. And it's about, let patience be a perfect work so that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And it's also a scripture about releasing doubt, because he who doubts is like a wave of the sea being tossed and driven by the wind. So patience is all about trust. And when you're trusting, you're not doubting, because doubt is what takes away our foundation. It takes away our stability, and then we're tossed about, as the scripture says. So I think it's James 1:4 or something like that. I don't know, but you're cultivating patience at the moment. You're weaving your dream. So this so-called test is not about whether or not you're capable of something. It's more about whether you really want something. Like if you're willing to meet your fears and to move through them with patience. Perception. So, you know, the giraffe with its long neck the giraffe is often a spirit animal that has to do with foresight. So this reading is all about, there's a gift waiting for you if you're willing to meet your fears. So look at where Scorpio is in your birth chart, because Scorpio, Pluto, these are all about facing your fears. When you do that, you begin to weave the life you want to live, and you weave it with patience. I think it was pile number 1 where I talked about the story of the tortoise and the hare, and how the tortoise won the race against the hare, spoiler alert, through patience and persistence, by not worrying about, oh, but the hare is faster. The hare, you know, is able to jump. You know, the hare lost the race because of his arrogance, because of his, need to push and to talk instead of taking action. And the tortoise, instead of talking, just took action. So this is all about taking action and trusting in the future vision. So this is allowing your future self to guide your path, as opposed to whatever it is that you see physically before you. So physically before you, you may feel like, I'm too slow. I don't know how this works. I don't have as much information as others. I don't have as many trainings or qualifications as others, or I haven't done as many this, that, and the other. All those stories we tell ourselves, but really the tortoise is teaching us it's patience and persistence. It's your innate wisdom, because the tortoise is also a symbol of wisdom. And the wisdom of the tortoise comes through longevity. It comes through patience. It comes through observation. And so this reading is also about trusting in your innate wisdom to face your fears and to open up to your opportunities and gifts of freedom. And you can do that by focusing more on what it is you want instead of what it is that you see directly before you. You may look at your bank account or look at different things and feel like, you don't necessarily see what it is that you're wanting to see. But know that as you focus on your vision, it will start to be woven into a tapestry. All you need is patience, okay? At the bottom of the deck is the owl with intuition. And again, the owl, like the tortoise, is a symbol of wisdom, a symbol of intuition. So if you're doubting yourself, this is like, stop questioning. Come back into peace, come back into your innate sensitivity, your innate wisdom, and allow yourself to be guided forward. The 58 is all about change, bringing in abundance. So take those steps that you need to take so that that dream that you're weaving can really start to take form. Trust. So let's get one last encouraging message. Let's ask this. I didn't ask this in the other two piles. Ooh, wow. So my question was, what is pile number 3 doing really well? Like, where can they be proud of themselves? At the bottom of the deck is forgiveness. So some of you may be in a period of decluttering, letting go of things, forgiving yourself, forgiving others. But look, these two fell out and I pulled this one. So let's take a look. Let's first take a look at what I pulled. Change. So perhaps you feel like you've been embracing change and you've been in a space of trusting that what is yours will come to you. Also with the butterfly, maybe you're in a process of transformation and metamorphosis. So this is something that you've been doing well. Abundance, look at that. Abundance is coming to you, and motivation. The horse is all about compassion and moving forward. So one thing that you've been doing well is that you've been moving forward. You've been allowing blessings to come to you. But funnily enough, my throat tickled and I had to swallow at the moment when I said that. So I'm wondering if communication can be a form of abundance, like allowing yourself to share your story, share your origin story. And your origin story basically says, I went from X to Z. I went from feeling not being heard, not being seen, to stepping into my visibility. I went from doubting myself to believing in myself, because your origin story, I went from feeling alone to joining a beautiful community, is what will help people feel attracted to what it is that you're offering. So well done, pile number 3. I'm so proud of you, and I hope that you're taking time to really be proud of yourself and to acknowledge how far you've come, because that will support you as you move forward, facing your fears, being the big dog, doing things just on a higher level, and just continue to move forward, to trust in yourself and to know that you can do it. So trust your power and authority within. And don't allow yourself to be hypnotized by distractions. Instead, focus on that foresight, on what you know is coming to you, because it's yours by divine right. You are supported, you are guided, you are held, and I'm proud of you. So that is your reading, pile number 3. Thank you so much. I feel like I want to pull this card. Look, power. Isn't that what I said? Allow your power and authority to open up and to guide you. And I felt pulled to pull this card. So this is the message we'll end with. Step into your power. Look for the bee spirit animal to show itself to you. The colors, black and yellow, maybe even the stone, bumblebee, jasper. Just know that you are held and you are guided. And everything's coming to you. But you must be willing to take action, to face your fears, and to move forward with the wisdom that is within you. If you would like support on that rebel path, and we can do my coaching rebel framework, you can find information in the description below. And I would just enjoy working with you and seeing you in the next reading.